Teyana Taylor is getting dragged online right now, and honestly, the real story behind the backlash is a lot more complicated than the clips people are sharing. Here's the setup. Jay-Z did 3 nights at Yankee Stadium to celebrate Reasonable Doubt turning 30 years old. 3 sold-out nights, tens of thousands of people each night. A full rollout built around one of the most important albums in hip-hop history. On night 3, he brought out Teyana Taylor to perform Mary J. Blige's part on Can't Knock the Hustle. The performance did not land the way anyone hoped. Vocally, she was not giving what people expected. And on top of that, there were real sound issues. You genuinely could not hear her clearly through parts of it. The internet did what the internet does. Clips spread instantly, comment sections filled up within minutes. Every hip-hop page had something to say. And Teyana became the story of the night for all the wrong reasons. Instead of the celebration Jay-Z had actually built the moment for, she addressed it directly on Instagram not long after. Her sound and in-ear said, "Not today," she wrote, but the gratitude was louder than any mic could ever be. She talked about being a little girl from Harlem who never could have imagined standing next to Jay-Z in Yankee Stadium in front of over 40,000 people who showed her that much love. She said if you had told that little Harlem girl she'd one day share a stage with Jay-Z in one of the most iconic stadiums in the world, she never would have believed you. She thanked him for the trust, for the opportunity, for the honor of being part of something this iconic, and said she would carry the night with her forever. She also posted a video of herself singing the part the way it was actually supposed to sound, essentially showing everyone what the performance would have been without the technical issues working against her. But here's what almost nobody is talking about directly, and it's actually the real issue sitting underneath all of this. Beyoncé performed that exact same song, that exact same part, on night 1. And she didn't just perform it, she reinvented it. Beyoncé's version of Mary's part on Can't Knock the Hustle had people online convinced it was a brand new song entirely. Some fans genuinely thought Jay-Z had dropped something fresh with her that night. She made the moment feel like it belonged to her completely, like she owned that song outright, and people have not stopped replaying that clip since. When something hits that hard, it becomes the standard everyone else gets measured against, whether that comparison is fair or not. So when Teyana came out 2 nights later to sing that same part on the same song in the same stadium, she wasn't just performing. She was following one of the most talked about musical moments of the entire 3-night run. That is an almost impossible position for anyone to walk into, technical issues or not. Very few performers on earth could follow that version of that song and come out unscathed. And that's really the core of what happened here. If Beyoncé had never touched that song at all, nobody would be dragging Teyana the way they are right now. The bar had already been set somewhere most performers, even on their best night with perfect sound and a full rehearsal, would struggle to reach. Now let's talk about what was actually happening with the sound, because this part matters, and it's been getting lost in the noise online. Multiple people who watched the performance closely pointed out that Teyana was visibly struggling with her in-ear monitor throughout the set. She could be seen adjusting it, taking it out, putting it back in, clearly fighting to hear the music she was supposed to be singing over. When a performer cannot hear their own cues clearly through their monitor, they end up singing behind the beat, which is exactly what happened here. That is not the same thing as someone simply having a bad night vocally by choice. That is a technical failure that put her in an impossible position in real time, in front of tens of thousands of people, with Jay-Z visibly trying to help her work through it live on stage. People who understand live sound production have pointed out that this kind of issue is not unusual when in-ear monitoring fails. The vocal often gets pulled down in the overall mix because a performer singing off the beat can throw off the entire song for everyone else on stage, including the band. That's reportedly part of why she was harder to hear throughout. It wasn't necessarily that she wasn't trying or wasn't prepared. It's that the tools she needed to succeed were actively failing her in the moment, live, with no way to fix it on the spot. There's also a fair point being made about how the entire 3-night run was structured. Jay-Z's Yankee Stadium celebration wasn't some loose, spontaneous thing put together last minute. It was a carefully built rollout with visuals, a progression across the 3 nights, and clear intention behind who performed what and when. Teyana was brought in specifically for night 3, and by all accounts, she may not have fully known everything she was stepping into until she was already committed to the moment. She's a New York artist through and through. When Jay-Z calls, you show up. no hesitation. That's simply how it works in that world. But showing up and being properly set up for success are two completely different things. And there's a real argument that the setup itself did not do her any favors that night. To be clear, nobody serious is saying Teyana Taylor cannot sing. She has a genuinely beautiful voice and has proven that across her entire career as a triple threat, singing, dancing, acting, all at a high level for over a decade. What a lot of people are actually saying is that this specific song, in this specific spot, immediately following one of the most iconic musical moments of the entire run, combined with real technical problems she was visibly fighting through in real time, was simply not a fair setup for anybody to walk into and shine. And that's worth sitting with for a second, because there's something very human buried underneath all of this. No matter how famous someone is, no matter how much status or money or talent they have, everybody has moments where the pressure and the circumstances line up against them at the worst possible time. That doesn't make someone bad at what they do for a living. It makes them human, dealing with a bad night under the worst possible spotlight. Teyana didn't respond to the criticism with anger or defensiveness or excuses. She responded with gratitude and grace, and she posted a video afterward showing exactly how she would have sung the part under normal circumstances, without the mic and in-ear issues working against her. That response says a lot about her character, especially in a moment where plenty of people online would have reacted very differently. The backlash also raises a broader question worth asking honestly. How fair is it, generally, to measure any performer against Beyoncé specifically on command with no notice? She has built a reputation across decades as an artist who simply does not walk on stage unless she is fully prepared to deliver at the highest possible level, every single time, no exceptions. That is an extraordinary standard, and it's one that very few artists anywhere in the world can consistently meet, let alone match 2 nights later on someone else's song, dealing with technical issues nobody could have predicted walking in. At the end of the day, this wasn't really a story about whether Teyana Taylor can sing. It was a story about circumstances stacking up against her all at once. A legendary predecessor's performance still fresh in everyone's minds days later, real technical failures happening live on a massive stage, and an audience holding her to a standard that had been set by someone else entirely, under completely different conditions and expectations. She showed up for Jay-Z on one of the most important nights of his career, celebrating an album that changed the culture. She dealt with a mic and in-ear situation that would have thrown off most performers in the world. And she still walked away thanking everyone involved instead of making excuses or lashing out at the people dragging her online. That's the fuller picture most people scrolling past the clips never actually saw. What do you think? Was the backlash fair? Or did people miss what was really happening on that stage that night? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more breakdowns like this one.